Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of If Margaritas Could Talk, the Over 40 Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Tracee Black, and today co-host Charity Jones and I are talking all about confidence. Ever feel like you're just one margarita away from being the most confident person in the room? Well, we're here to tell you, confidence isn't about the drink in your hand. It's about the power in your stride. So let's shake off the doubt, get salted and sassy, and ready to own our own glow up. Because today we're serving confidence, and trust me, it's about to get extra spicy. So, Charity, hello. How are you today?
Well. How are you, Tracee?
So good. So good. Are you ready to serve up like a dish of confidence with a side of margarita?
I am. I'm always ready for a side of margarita.
Always ready. All right. Let's get into it. Go right ahead.
All right. So what do you think? Have you ever met someone oozing with confidence and you wonder if they were born with it or if they grew into it? Just
to put you on the spot.
Well, I've been thinking about it, and I think it really has to do with both. I think the nature versus nurture argument, that you can be born with traits that contribute to confidence, but that it really takes a lot of life experiences, to make you a confident human being in the end product. I think it goes back to, your parenting, your childhood, what that was like, how supported you were, how many opportunities you were given to succeed and even fail. And if you were supported in those failures, the nature side, like how your body reacts to failure, reacts to stress. I feel like I definitely have a visceral response to stress, which I'm assuming most people do, but we all handle it differently.
Nature versus nurture confidence. I like that point that you made. So how do we grow that? How does that work? Can you break it down?
Yeah, I think that the nurture part, it depends on how much support you've had, how much encouragement, those early tasks like playing sports, getting out there and striking out in your first T-ball game and learning it's okay and that your friends are still cheering you on and your parents are still proud. And if you don't have that, then it can definitely affect you. But I don't think that it restrains you from ever being confident. Then there's the factor of, does a little privilege come in? Are people that with more opportunities in life, do they start out with a little more confidence? Maybe they're given those opportunities do help grow in their confidence. I think there's plenty of things in life that you can still get there. No matter how you start, it just might take a little more effort. It might be a little harder, but what are your thoughts?
I agree what you're saying. Talking about confidence starting out as children, that's really important. So I realize now, like later as an adult, that actually that's part of the fundamental teachings in school when you're in elementary school and junior high school, is to find that inner strength and that confidence when they're putting you up in front of the classroom to do show and tells and talent shows, and they're starting you out with the idea of establishing an inner confidence in children, because even though we, as parents, we teach our kids confidence, we teach it in different ways. And then the wonderful thing, which I never thought about till actually this conversation, is actually they did start us out teaching us to be confident in school. Mm-hmm. And then things like you mentioned, right? Competitive sports, dance, when you're doing dance recitals, anytime that you're a child and you're in the presence of a larger gathering of people, that was to establish that, so that when you go into the classroom and you establish friendships with peers, you start to gain that level of confidence. I'm not sure if it's a thing in the US, but I had one friend and her husband that put their daughter into, what's it called, where they teach them how to speak in front of people and
like
at a very young age.
Or public speaking?
It's like a public speaking sort of mentorship type situation. I think every child, every human can benefit from that. Yeah, so I definitely agree. I'd like to touch a little bit more on the privilege part of it, though, as you mentioned.
Well, I think there's a couple things that can go with that. One being that, you're supported in your failures, kind of like I said with the T-ball example, but that you're given a little more leniency, like maybe in a job. If you're given the benefit of a doubt. If you make a mistake, you're just human, you get to try again. And maybe there's people out there, that they're not treated that way. So given the benefit of the doubt, being supported in your failures a little more. And then financial freedom to take risks. That might not come in childhood, but later, financial stability, it does open up a lot more areas to take risk and to be brave and to get out there and try something. And if it falls apart, you can recover later. But if you're living without a dollar, then taking a risk is going to really affect your life a lot more than somebody that can bounce back.
That is the truth. When you think about the financial aspect of it, the level of confidence that comes from pushing yourself out of those uncomfortable places is really, I think some people have the ability to do it. But as I've gotten older, my confidence has shifted. Like I used to be a super confident person, and then, life kind of kicks you in your bum sometimes. And then you realize as you're getting up there, you go, holy crap. I used to feel so great when I did certain specific things. And then now you're questioning whether you should do it or not. And it's uncomfortable, or you're a little more apprehensive to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And I think that has to do with confidence. What do you think the main trigger of, where does it stem from? Like, so if we put aside the childhood stuff, where does the lack of confidence stem from, do you think?
I think it stems from fear. Definitely. Being scared to fail and being scared of judgment and to being ridiculed, or like we'd say these days, canceled, the cancel culture.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's the fear of not being accepted, which leads to the fact of friends in a support group. I think that if you have healthy friendships in your adult life, that if you can call a girlfriend when something goes bad and you can cry and then end up laughing about it by the end of the conversation and feel better, you feel more confident to go out there and try again. Whereas if you just come home and don't have anyone, as a support and hole up in your bedroom and eat cake, then you might not have the energy or the willpower to get back out there and do it again. So I think support from our community, support from our friends help with confidence. And I think just your mindset, I think celebrating all the wins really help gain confidence. How we talk to ourselves really matters. So speaking from the lack of confidence, if you don't have a positive language, self-voice, then that can really slow you down. And that takes training. I think we all naturally talk negative to ourselves or judge ourselves harder than most people do. Wouldn't you agree?
I think it kind of falls in the line of self-awareness in those moments when you're lacking that amount of confidence that you should have spades. Like, we all want to have confidence in spades, but sometimes we're put into positions which that fear mechanism kind of takes over, I think.
Yeah.
I personally, for me, I'd love to have that Michelle Obama type confidence that just oozes, right? It's just a total other level where, she's highly educated, but she walks into a room and the forward face of that is that it oozes confidence. But I don't know, maybe there's things that she has fears about that she's not so confident about. I mean, we all have it, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I wonder what she's scared of.
Yeah, right? Michelle Obama, please give us a ring. We'd like to have you on the podcast and we'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, I wonder what stage of her life she became that confident.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a lawyer, right? And also being of color as well. I think there's things that people don't expect. And back to the privilege aspect that you were talking about. For most of us, I really dislike the word because I don't feel like I've had any privilege in my life at all, but I understand the viewpoint of it. I really do, which you don't want that, right? We want everybody as human beings to have some kind of ability to just be themselves without this label to it. Really, the label aspect of all of it is hard. It's weird because it's like when you have a disease and the doctor puts a name on it, then all of a sudden you identify with that. Yeah. And you go, okay, I am this way because of this, or this is happening to me because of this. As soon as there's a label on it, then it changes the message of how you deal with it. And I think that's kind of through life too. So the word confidence is, it's about experiences and fails, right? Fails create fear.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Hey there. Got a brand with personality? Then let's talk. On If Margaritas Could Talk, we sip, chat, and connect with a community that loves good stories, good laughs, and living life out loud. Your business could be a part of that vibe. From bold brands to fresh startups, we've got ad spots ready to go. So grab a lime and let's mix something great. Hit us up at podcast.imct@gmail.com or visit us at ifmargaritascould.com. Cheers.
And I think failure can create confidence too. I mean, if you get on stage with comedy anyway, if you get up there and you bomb and nothing makes the crowd laugh, and then you get off and everyone tells you, oh, it's okay, and gives you a high five and a hug, and then you think, so that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So even those can be wins, I think, in my mind. I think that you were going back to the privilege stuff. I think that all comes down to how you're treated too. If you're treated in public, just customer service, restaurants, if you're just not treated the same or the way that you should be in daily life, I mean, that's got to weigh on you. That support, like we were talking about, just feeling confident within your community. It's hard. Like I moved to Tulsa almost 2 years ago, and I have a friend group, but I still don't know a whole lot of people. It is hard sometimes to get out there and not know anybody, and even going to a restaurant and sitting by yourself, which I did not know was a thing to be ashamed of.
What?
There's been all these jokes lately about how single, depressed, how sad it is to see someone eating alone. And I thought, I've never even thought about it. Wow. I eat alone all the time.
I have done it once. A couple of years ago, I was in this really great little ski town that we have not far. And I was staying at this gorgeous lake resort, and it was amazing. But to go have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner alone, it was really weird at that moment, stepping out of the comfort zone. There's tables filled with people and families, and it's a weird thing. Eating out at restaurants is a social thing. So then when you're alone as a woman, it just feels a little bit different. Now, maybe guys, it's normal for them. I used to travel for work, and so you would see guys at the bar sitting at a table all by themselves all the time. They eat, they go in, they're comfortable, they're confident. Maybe it's different for women. I feel like eyes are on me because I'm by myself.
Well, and I think it's funny that it never crossed my mind to be insecure about it.
I was like, why do I feel so awkward? Should I be that person just freaking everyone out and talking to myself?
Of course, 9 times out of 10, I leave there knowing someone. Well, just because I typically like to sit at the bar and eat, just so that there's the bartender and there's usually a TV. So yeah, there's some kind of interaction.
But you get my point. If you were sitting at a table alone, it's weird because most people go out to eat and have a drink and it's a social interaction.
Yeah.
And so then when you're sitting at the bar, you're kind of doing that. Because there's another party or maybe other parties around you that you can talk, casually have a conversation with.
I'm sure you can't imagine me talking to strangers.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe I
God.
do have more confidence than I give myself credit for.
I think you do. I think we all do in a way that we don't necessarily see or acknowledge. Mm-hmm. There's points and times where it's really very in your face, where we have to challenge that moment and we recognize it, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's times where we probably do something where it does build the confidence and we are in it and don't actually take that mental note that this is that moment. I kind of think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one thing that's helped me build a lot of confidence, it was going to school, getting my education. I went to school when my babies were 3, had to move in with my dad, go to college, and I picked a really hard degree. And there were a lot of really close people to me that didn't know if I could do it. And I didn't know if I could do it. I really struggled with, can I pull this off? Is this going to be too much? And I just worked my tail off to prove everyone wrong. But I was scared to death.
Which is, I think, natural because it's outside the box of our comfort.
And I couldn't really work a lot. It changed a lot of things in my life for a long time. But I'm so glad I did it. That was one of the biggest fears I feel like I've conquered in life, was going and getting an education while my kids were young.
I fully understand that. I mean, if you've ever had a job loss, I had one job loss that destroyed me. I was like, holy cow, this was my forever place, my forever home, completely out of left field, a layoff. And you go, but that's not my plan. My plan was to be here forever for the rest of my life and retire. That shook me. It put me in a place where then after the fact, I felt not as confident when it came to going back out to the working world, even though I had my own company, which I have had for many, many years. I'm very selective about what I do in that world, but I've had 3 full careers in my life where I've been very fulfilled in all 3 of them. But when you're getting older, over 40, you shift from going up the ladder to almost going down the ladder, because then younger generations that maybe don't have as much experience, but there's longevity there. They can pay them less money. Like all these kind of things are sort of stacked against you as you're getting older. And those are realisms, right? In the real world, that's a truth. So it does shake you a little bit. And I just wish there was a way to get around it. No matter when you talk about nerves, when you get up on stage and you have nerves, even though you have the confidence, you as a comedian, like the odd time something happens and it's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Right.
I have to consciously tell that voice to be quiet. I have to overcome that. Yes. There's a book I read that talks about the negative inner voice and that everyone has it. And that, you know, you start to tell yourself, you're not funny enough. You're not as funny as that guy. You're going to bomb. They're not going to like that joke. And you have to tell that voice to shut up. You just have to overpower it and get up there. And I listen to the same music. I wear the same lipstick. I have a whole ritual, which I've always kind of been that way. Any exam that I took, I dressed up like I was going to church. I called it my Sunday church dress. I would wear dress shoes, do my full makeup, hair, because I felt like that extra boost of confidence helped with my testing, my scores.
Yeah.
And I always ate a big breakfast and just made sure I was in the best mood, listened to the same song on the way there. And so I kind of do that with comedy too, to just get my mindset prepared. But I've also really been intentful with my inner voice. Be kind to your mind. And when I start to talk bad about myself to myself, I think, would my best friend call and say this to me? No. Would she let me say this to myself? No. But that's only been in the last year or 2. You have to intentionally, I feel like, do that because we naturally just want to be negative.
I'm big on intention. That is the truth. Like even wrapped around my book I wrote, it is all about that. It's all about inspiration. It's all about the self-acknowledgement of finding your voice and learning a repetition of steps that you take in order to keep continuing to build the strength of that inner voice. And it comes right down to things like the confidence. It comes down to being able to say more no's, a whole variety of different things. But I think each and every one of us as human beings, like you said, if you have sort of this ritual where you can find that balance, helps gain that momentum to driving that confidence to come out, because Lord knows it's easy to listen to that inner voice. It's very easy to listen to that inner voice. I'd say I'm guilty of that myself.
Well, especially with any kind of failure, like you were talking about with that job. Yeah. I'm sure there was part of you that wanted to blame yourself or find your own faults. That I'm like that with dating. I have to remind myself, I have a lot to offer. I'm a catch. If someone's not interested, I don't have to think that it's all about me, that I'm a terrible catch, or, you know, I have to keep all of that out because it'll make me depressed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It can really
affect
easy.
You.
I think it's easy to fall into that if you're not willing to search for the inner strength to pull out that confidence. Yeah. The time lapse of life. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but most people know me. I don't think in terms of time by years. I always reference to terms of time by summers. So in my life, here I am, 55 years old. I have 25 summers left to go. 25 good summers left to go. Let's hope, right? No more cancer. And what am I going to do with that time? How am I going to value myself and value my intention and continue to build my confidence back up? Even as getting older, you still need it. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love the counting the summers. That's such a great perspective, because when you think of it that way, I mean, if you've got some bucket list items, like I want to go to Greece and I want to go to all the islands in the Kokomo song. So,
and that's really the reason why I do it. It's just to put a different window and look at it from No two moments are the same. Time is really not borrowed. So here we are. This is what we have left. What are we going to do in that time period? And how are we going to make the best of our life to continue to build who we are? How are we going to live the rest of our life? Because it is a significant period of time. It does go by very fast. And that's kind of the
and we're
reality.
not guaranteed 25 summers either.
We're not. No.
You know?
No.
Oh.
Some people say, well, I have 10 good summers left. Well, okay. Yes. When you hit a certain point, if you're 70 years old, and that again defines that it's not a long period of time. So do all the things that you want to do, you know. Absolutely. But some people, no, I've done it, been there, done that. I'm here just to chill out now for the next 10 summers or 25 summers or whatever.
Well, yeah, just like my dad, you know, we've traveled a lot. He's traveled all over. He's 72 now. And I was talking about a big trip a while back, and he was like, I think I'm done with the big trips. I've done them and I'm ready to kind of cozy in my nest and do my hobbies. I'm 46. I don't want to wait until I'm in my 60s or 70s to start living all the things that we dream about in the bucket list and waiting for the retirement. What if I'm too tired by then?
I'm tired now. Never mind then. Holy Hannah. Yes. Our brain, when it comes to any kind of rejection that we've received, our brain responds in a specific way. And that self-acceptance, kind of embracing who you are, embracing the flaws, embracing every ounce of this is the package, this is my meat suit, these are the things, right, in life. And this is now who I am. Because we're different people than we were 20, 30 years ago. And so when we look at who we are today, and then even in 10 to 25 more summers, we're going to be different people then too. So building on that confidence, what do you think are some of the steps to building the confidence? Like, what are some of the things that stick out most for you?
Well, I think it's the celebration of the rewards that helps the most. I saw this thing on social media a while back where this woman had a measuring cup and it was full of water, and she was taking out 1 teaspoon at a time of water. And at first it wasn't making any difference. You couldn't really see any decrease in the measuring cup. But then she did time lapse, and after several weeks of doing 1 teaspoon a day, you could really see a difference in the measuring cup. The water was going down. Then within a couple months, the water was gone or whatever. The illustration was just to point out, it doesn't have to be huge steps. It doesn't have to be major gains. That each little bitty thing that we do, each little step will eventually come all together to make the big win. And that's what really helps me. It helped me lose 40 pounds a couple years ago. Every single day I went on my walk, and every time I made a better or a healthier choice, I thought, this is my teaspoon today. And it worked. I mean, but it's that mindset, you know, it's that inner self, that how we treat ourselves. And I think it goes into loving yourself, celebrating your wins. Journaling is great. I like to journal at the end of every year to list out all my accomplishments of that year, and then journal of what my goals are for the upcoming year, and then reflect on that and see where I'm landing. And it sure feels good when you look at your list and you've accomplished some of the things that you wanted to do.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that. There's this quote out there, what if I fall? And then the quote is, but baby, what if you fly? I love Coco Chanel, her journey in life, just being a designer and so on. I've learned about the history of it, because in design, it's quite important to know historical facts and where a lot of it stems from. A lot of it started from the fashion world. So when we talk about the ability to fly and have the confidence, even just in male dominated careers, or it's our job to decide, instead of having self-sabotage because the fears comes into play. That's a thing for me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just not going to do it because it's just uncomfortable. Well, no, don't have that mindset. You know, a couple of years ago, I tried to learn first time how to ride an e-bike, and I had to go down this really giant hill, and I was scared out of my mind because Simon Cowell from Thank you. I can never remember the name of the show. American Idol. He had gotten his first e-bike and actually broke his back. He was messed up, surgeries and the whole 9 yards. Yeah. So you're in that moment. I'm going, okay, I've had spine injuries and I've had da-da-da. I don't know if I have the capability of doing this. It's terrifying me. I'm going to fall. I'm going to crash. I'm going to burn. It's going to be hard. And I'm going to be back in surgery again. So I stood at the top of the hill and literally tears just flowing. I'm going, I don't think I'm capable of doing this. And in that moment, the instructor said, I'm going to walk the bike down the hill for you because this is a moment where you're having some trouble emotionally. It's too much.
Yeah.
So how about if I help? And again, back to the support, like you were saying, in that moment, I was like, okay, the support is there. He's going to walk the bike down. I'll get on the bike. I'm still scared to get on the bike that I'm going to crash, but he's going to make sure I've had the instructions. Get on the bike, ride the bike, know how to ride the bike. I'm like, this isn't so bad. So all that fear was standing in the way, but the hill was very scary. I was like, no, I'm not doing this because I will crash and burn.
Yeah.
But I use that as it's like riding a bike scenario because it truly was.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, all of a sudden I'm this newfound freedom. Oh my God, a bike that makes me go faster and I don't have to do as much work.
That's right.
What am I missing in my life? This. So yeah, I sort of use that as my mantra to say you can get on the bike. So if I have moments of weakness, I hope we can use some kind of a metaphorical moment that helps to push us to get out of our comfort zone for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of leads us to the faking it till you make it part too. Sometimes you have to get on the bike and figure it out. Pretending you belong somewhere or pretending that you have the skills to do something, as long as it's safe. I mean, you can't go pretend that you're going to be a pilot and fly the airplane.
Yeah. Don't do that. That's a no.
But like pretending that you belong in a community group, you'll eventually belong in the group. You know, if you walk in and do the things and show up to the events and go to the planning meetings and be a participating member, then you will belong. So I think you can fake it till you make it in safe scenarios, just challenging yourself. What do you think? Do you have any stories of faking it till you make it?
Faking it till you make it. When I landed my very first design job right out of university, I was scared out of my mind. This family had caught wind, the company that I was working for at the time, that they had a junior designer on staff, and then the fees are a lot less when it's a junior designer compared to a principal designer. Anyway, I learned all the skills in school, but now I have to put the skills to work. My mind thought at that time was just go in, fake it till you make it, just do everything, go back to the resources because you can do this. This is what you chose to do. Yeah. People believe in you. They've seen what your capabilities are. So you have to trust that. But I think when you're younger, you have all the confidence in the world. But even then, these people are paying a lot of money and I have to make sure I don't screw it up. And you learn as you keep going and you keep building and you keep getting that thicker skin. Again, male dominated industry with trades and so on. And you're a woman and they want to talk over you and no, are you sure about this? And it's like, this is what the plan is. And that's it, period. There's no question mark. It's a period. Here it is. That in itself, when you become your own empowerment to push yourself is, I think, the message that we're trying to send in this podcast today too. But fake it till you make it. I think it's how you push yourself. Is it not?
Yeah.
So even though it's like a negative connotation, I think it's something that people will do. It's like fight or flight. You're going to make a decision in that moment to say, no, I'm fully not capable of doing it, or I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm going to, even though I might not be fully 100%, like I'm not going to be a pilot. That's for darn sure. Right. But there's something within the capabilities that you're even in that position in the first place.
Well, I kind of had a similar situation with a job. I was asked to teach at the university, and because someone had retired and they needed someone to fill in, and it was only a few weeks away. And she said, can you teach this and this and this course? And I was like, yes, sure. And then, complete panic attack. What have I done? I don't know if I can teach these courses. But I mean, I did. I got out there and worked my tail off. It wasn't always my best performance, but I had to really pep myself up every lecture. They believed in me. They reached out to me. I can do this. I have these skills. That's why they've come to me, like you were saying, and just really get my mindset right. But it was hard. And I did feel like an imposter syndrome, like crazy. Even going to faculty meetings, knowing I wasn't a tenured professor just was so intimidating. And every time it was like, I belong in this meeting. I belong in this meeting.
I could see that for sure. Yeah. I want to make a point. Something just stuck in my head. The biggest job that we have when we shout out to our moms and mothers who the hardest job in life is to make a baby, have a baby, raise a baby. We don't give enough kudos to all the moms in the world, even though it's a personal decision to have children. It is a hard job to do. And the first time you have that baby and you're sent home and you're supposed to just naturally know what to do, that in itself, there's fear that comes from that, and building the confidence and trusting that you're going to be the best mother you can be. You're going to raise your children to be good kids and good humans. I believe 100% that job in the world is undervalued. And when we're talking about building confidence, that's a scary thing as a new mom. You're faced with it. I mean, back in the day when I had my kids, I don't know about you, but got to stay in the hospital for a couple of days, and the nurses would help and they would bathe the baby. And when you needed rest, they would feed the baby and so on. And you need to get used to feeding and, doing all the things. Now people literally have a push, it's out, and then within hours they're released and go home. Crazy.
Wow. That is crazy.
These young women, or women just in general, going out to have a baby, it's one and done kind of thing. And you're left on your own accord to sort it out. It's got to be scary. So I just want to acknowledge moms, because I think, you know what, that's a big job in itself, that when you come home with that new baby, you can question whether you're equipped for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I came home with the twins, I can remember putting them on the couch in their carriers. I sat them there, and then I just looked at them like, what in the world are we supposed to do now?
Right.
How am I in charge? Am I in charge? Who did this?
Right.
But yeah, the guilt that comes from motherhood that you're not doing it right is just overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming.
Yeah. It goes back to having that major support network, but some people don't have that. So you have to search deep within yourself to find the confidence to say, I can do this. I still believe that every single day. Year of redemption for me. I'm going, okay, after breast cancer, I hope nothing else comes up, but this is the year of redemption. I'm going to do everything and anything. So yesterday I signed up to go do a test drive on a Can-Am. I have my motorcycle license, but I haven't ridden a motorcycle in probably 10 years. So I'm going, I guess I'm just going to do this. This is the year, right? So I can do hard things, even though it's really intimidating and it's scary. I have to have the confidence to know I've done the lessons. I've done it all. Find that place again where you took something, you did something, you had the confidence to step into it, and you had the confidence to step out of it, and you felt good. I can do this too. Who cares? I can do this too. And so that's happening.
Well, congratulations. That's exciting. I can't wait to hear that.
I'm scared out of my mind. I'm like, what am I doing? But I'm like, oh, whatever. Let's just do the things. Live the life. 25 more summers. Let's hope. Right?
That's right. Well, I just got my first tattoo in Vegas last month, and I was scared to death. And in fact, I kind of had a little panic attack afterwards.
Really?
Yes. And I didn't even expect it. I didn't see it coming at all, but I just couldn't breathe. I started crying, and I later I thought, I think it was the overwhelming decision of just the permanence that did I really think about this? Because I got it, on my wrist and everybody can see it. And I thought, oh my gosh, did I make a rash decision? And then it was like, well, it doesn't matter. It's on your body forever. And then I kind of had a little freak out, but now I'm fine. I love it. But it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, of course, because the permanence of it. So it's like, it's not like you got a dice on your breastises where it started out as a full-size dice and then later on it goes down to a domino.
Yeah. From dice to domino.
Yeah, you can use that in your stand-up. But bump. That's me doing my little side joke.
I might have to use that.
Oh, we are talking about confidence today, and it takes even confidence just for us to be on this podcast, because it wasn't a thing. It was a dream. It was a passion project. And now here we are. And I love every minute of it. And even though some moments can be daunting or uncomfortable, I'm sure that there's listeners out there who are like, yes, this is how I feel every single day. And how do I regain the confidence? So if we had to make a list of 1 to 5 of what that would look like, why don't you start it? So let's go with number 5, work our way to 1.
Number 5, I would say positive self-talk, positive inner thoughts.
Okay. Number 4, I'd say let go of fear.
Number 3, I would say write down your wins or celebrate your wins.
Okay. Number 2, I would say self-love. Lots of self-love.
Lots of self-love.
That could be number 1 too, but you go with number 1. Let's hit it. Drum roll.
Okay.
Number 1.
Number 1, I say continue to challenge yourself.
Yes.
You got to give yourselves those opportunities. Yeah. And they can be tiny. They can be small. Anything that you're scared of.
I'm scared of everything. Like, please hold my hand.
Well, it should be easy for you to find your challenges then.
Oh, I don't even know where it comes from. Yeah, the comfort zone. Sometimes it's easier just to not step outside of it. And that's my problem. I get too comfortable and I go, I don't really want to do that. But then there's times where I'm like, let's be adventurous. I'll never jump off a mountain, only because people die. So, you know, people are like, oh, I love taking risks. Okay, take all the risks for yourself.
But on that motorcycle.
my daughter, you know, we talk about risks and confidence. Let me tell you. So on her 21st birthday, I took her to Vegas. I'm terrified of heights. She's like, let's go on the zip line on Fremont Street. I'm like, okay, getting up there. She's like, let's go, Mom. You know, she's having all the good times, gets wrapped up. And then she just goes. And I'm like, right to the edge, stop. And then I start crying, pull me back. They pull me back. My feet were like clenched. Don't go. Your heart is pounding. You're sick to your stomach. You're going to throw up all over this people down that are walking on Fremont Street. So let's just not do it. She's long gone. And I'm right. They have to unhook me. I got to do the walk of shame down the stairs. Then there's a group of ladies coming up the stairs going, come with us. You'll be fine. I'm like, no. So I just couldn't do it. That confidence was not there. I'm confiding in you to make sure that this thing's going to keep me safe. And I'm looking down going, I don't like the height of this and I'm going to throw up all over everybody. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to be a win for nobody. Yeah. So I'm just going to say no. Been there, done that. Then I got to go from one end to the other end to try to find her. And then another 2 days later, she's, I want to jump off the stratosphere. I'm like, what now? I'm not doing that. This is not happening. Her, not a single amount of fear, right? So yeah, I'm at the bottom. She does the free jump. I'm like crying my eyes out watching my kid jump from the top of this building. What is happening right now? Yeah. But she trusts. The fear for me is the inability to trust. So trust others and put my life in the hand of other people.
Well, and that comes from life experiences. We learn that not everyone's to be trusted as we get older. And when we're younger and naive, we don't realize all the rides at the fair break. You know, we're fascinated by the lights and we have other concerns. But as an adult, we're like, we know they put that together yesterday.
It's the same when you're flying, when you're driving, putting our lives in the hands of other people in other situations. There's an element of trust that sort of is an afterthought, I think, in some specific situations. But you know, when your spidey senses go and you're like, I don't trust this. I'm not going. Yeah. I'm not doing it. And that's okay. If you're in that moment and we are listening to our gut and it's saying no, it's not about the confidence perspective. I think it's probably stemming from some kind of a trauma response or something where that gut is saying, and you know, as women, we often tend to ignore our gut.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is that it does play hand in hand, though, but be confident enough to listen to our gut because it's usually telling us things that we don't want to do. We don't want to deal with, or we want to date that person, but our gut's saying red flags, or we want that job, but our gut's saying this is a toxic environment, even though it's better money. But it takes the confidence, I guess, to know everything's going to work out the way it should.
Well, that too, and
you know,
the manifesting and the believing, sort of the universal background of when things are supposed to happen, they'll happen, and they happen without interruption, or they happen without us questioning. I think when it just becomes natural and it's just without an afterthought. I don't know if that's making any sense what I'm saying, but do you know what I mean? Where if there's a roadblock, it kind of means maybe that's not for us. I really believe in that. So then if I'm second guessing or I'm questioning, that's a sign instantly, and I do listen to it. I more so than ever. I think when I was younger, maybe I wouldn't. How about you?
The same. I think it just goes with listening to that inner gut and just knowing, being the confidence that everything does turn out the way it's supposed to. But I feel like we learn that through life lessons. When you don't get the property you want, and then you figure out later that it turned out okay. Or you didn't get to go on the trip that you were supposed to go on, and then some other opportunity happens that wouldn't have happened if you were out of the country, or you just never know. But I think it does take learning that over time through those experiences to have the confidence to say, it's going to be fine. It's going to work out some other way.
I agree with that statement. As you know, I just put Margaritas Could Talk onto TikTok. I'm fearful of that whole situation. I don't know what I'm doing in here. I know that it's a young person thing, and I feel out of my zone. I'm putting things in places they shouldn't go. I don't know how people are having people on their screen. I don't even know anything. Okay. How am I going to navigate this? Because this is where I'm supposed to be, apparently. So those TikTokers out there and those people out there, please, please, please follow us on your listening platforms and get us our rating up and join us on TikTok, because I don't know what I'm doing. So if you have any tips, send them to me, please.
I do have a funny story about TikTok that happened last night. I was trying out the TikTok live, where I was on camera. I didn't have a clue to what I was doing or what I was even supposed to be on there saying, but people kept asking to be the co-host and to come in on the live in the video. I kept denying it, but then I guess I hit the wrong button at one point, and this young kid with braces gets on the screen with me, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And he said, "Hey, Grandma."
What? Oh, man, alive.
Yes. I said, "What?" I said, "You get out of here right now." He said, "You get out of here, Grandma." I was like, "This is my room." So I just shut the whole thing down. But I just was dying laughing. But thank goodness I had a good sense of humor, because he really kept calling me Grandma.
Oh, man, alive. See? It's scary. I think when I signed us up, I was thinking I was putting the picture in the profile, but it's supposedly where you put stuff and it goes out to the people. I'm like, why is the picture not staying in this window? And I think I sent 7 things out, and you liked all of them, but I don't know what, obviously.
I think you were adding to your story instead of your profile picture.
I didn't even know. Like, I'm like this, because normally any, like Instagram, Facebook, your profile picture's there, you add your picture. So when it said plus, I'm like, okay, this is where you put the picture. Yeah, no, wasn't it. Had to dig deeper to find where to put that. But I'll get confidence when I learn what the heck I'm doing and be a little bit out of my comfort zone for a while. I don't know if I'm the video person to do the video things. Maybe that will be something that will grow. But If Margaritas Could Talk is really not about me. It's about us. It's about the community. It's about women. It's about men. It's about anybody who can relate to what we all want to put out into the universe and topics we want to discuss. I think a good portion of humans in the world can relate to, the word confidence and what that looks like and how it feels, for sure. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Just to keep getting out there and, replace what if I fail with what if I rock this? What'd you say before? Something about flying.
What if fail? But babe, what if you fly? Remember, summers are important because they're the funnest time of the year. Just keep doing you. Live your best life, your best self. Do all the things. Buy the book of Tracee Black's book, New Year, New Me, available on Amazon globally. But hey, listeners, we love you. We have so much great content coming for the month of June, and a new format rollout, which is going to be really fabulous for Charity and myself. I don't know. Is that a wrap today, do you think?
I think it's a wrap. What do you think?
I think it's a wrap. I do. Wonderful topic. Until next time, keep laughing, keep living. And remember, if life gives you limes, you make a margarita. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite listening platform. Please like and follow us there. And of course, we can be also found on ifmargaritascouldtalk.com. Don't forget #podcastdiva. So cheers to everyone, and cheers to next time. See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.